Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly shop steward today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition's, Paizo Publishing's outstanding Pathfinder 2nd Edition fantasy RPG, played in our custom setting of the Spires of Paridar. This is a conspiracy, Coalpunk, occult conspiracy, mystery-laden setting of class disparity, industrial progress, and murder, quite often. And with me today are the stars of the Spires of Paridar campaign. We're coming up on 1 year anniversary of this one, guys. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing? First up is Sean.
Hey, I'm playing Golag, son of Dak. He's a orc witch detective.
Nice. Next up is James.
And I'm Sally Dumaire, and I'm the Azarkati Ancient Scale monk of the group.
Very nice.
The Fishy Princess.
The Fishy Princess. We've also got, she has had her namesake added to a strategy now, because yesterday when Darren's character had the ability to attack 4 times in a round, we called it pulling a Dumaire. Next up is Ingolf.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ingolf. I'm playing Basil Rathbone, who is an Izuki detective. And yeah, well, we'll see where we go today. It's strange. Strange start, maybe.
Yeah. And last, but certainly not least, is Darren.
Hello, I'm Darren. I'm playing Dr. Adam Ersprung, who's a level 4 inventor with his trusty sidekick Igor. And when Trin pulled a demur, it was 4 misses, not 4 hits. So it didn't quite go to plan.
First level.
Just keep trying.
Yeah. All right. So, guys, it has been, at the time of recording, it has been about a month since we played last, because I was on vacation at the time of our last session. But we did pick up, this is part 3, I believe, of our current mystery, Fire and Brimstone. Part 4. Part 4, wow. So, guys, what do you recall having happened last time? And I'll try and prompt things as necessary. Maybe we can situate ourselves. What is the basis or the gist of the current mystery that you're investigating? Let's maybe situate ourselves with the basics first.
We're certainly looking into this brother Loeb character, who seems to be at the head of setting fire to numerous properties around Paridar.
Yeah.
The doctor missed half of the last session, to be honest.
So we had quite a fight with some older guy and 2 ruffians who attacked basically our cart.
Yep.
Or it was Golag's driving skills. I can't really remember. But anyway, so we fought them off, and Basil deceived one of those ruffians to believe that he would help him escape, and so he wanted this guy to show Basil where their hideout was, and so now we
was
know
it you who used a horse to do a roadkill attack?
That would be Golag.
Oh, that would be Golag. Well done, Golag. So I don't want to take away your thunder from the RTA school of combat.
So
all tools.
I believe the thing, just to add further context too, the one of the fires that was set did result in the death of someone that our stalwart illuminators had dealt with previously, and that was Father Timothy Tilcott. He died in a fire set by. Well, you guys have some, thanks to some insight from your one of your contacts at the at Collingwood University, Professor Raleigh Galberry. He had provided some insight into, or they, I should say, provided some insight as to what this creature might be. What do you guys remember about that?
Rimorock.
Yes.
So it is, yeah.
Yeah, a goat-headed fire devil or demon.
Yeah. Someone was talking to his father also, wasn't it? So Golag had a talk.
Yes, we will be picking up with Golag. Went to meet with what he thought was his regular contact at the Tuscan Tankard. But I'm telling the man. But when he got there, he found that instead it was his father who he was meeting with. And we have yet to have that conversation. And that would be Dak. You guys also have made the acquaintance of another member of the priesthood. Do you remember Father Hezekiah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was cantankerous, but gave us a good deal of information.
Yeah. He's one of the instructors at the seminary of St. Ivy, but he also was an instructor for another priest that you guys have also met.
Father Rush.
Father Rush, that's right. There also was what do you remember about the investigation into the fire? Remember when you guys first were there you were originally going to get yourselves involved with it, but then the investigation into the fire seems to have been shut down quite quickly.
Yes, by the Ministry of Internal Security.
Yes.
And, there was a woman whose name I forgot, or maybe we didn't know the name. I'm not sure. There's only written woman in my notes, so it's not very specific.
That I cannot assist with. And then you got some information as well, Basil, from one of your contacts in the Whisker Network, which of course doesn't exist.
Yeah. That is very obvious.
Yeah.
There's actually a Whisker Brothers in the Agents of Edgewatch. This was very suspicious.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was some company involved in this, and we were supposed to look at this and also to look at this this kind of, I don't know, home for outcasts from the church, where they put those people who have fallen ill in the church.
Yeah, St. Adelard's, which had burned down a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that seemed to have a contact to Brother Loeb as well. In the background as well, we have Sally has been in touch with Mrs. Hunter about setting up a meeting with Captain Zalazo, who has that bizarre underwater, breathing apparatus. And the Dr. Ursprung is in the midst of planning a gala to try and fundraise for a new clinic. There was also Dr. Ursprung was very briefly thought held as a strong or a likely suspect for a murder near the burned church as well. And let's see here, what else has happened? So you visited, you guys have spied on Brother Loeb, so you have got an idea of what he looks like. Charity events on the go.
I think, did Basil also deploy Clockwork?
Yes, he did.
Clockwork Spy,
Yeah. And Sir Archibald Morgan came to you once again as well. And what do you remember about the warning he offered you?
Yes, there's a hunter on the loose who is one of these. I don't know how this how this kind of organization calls itself. It's like the monster hunters of Paridar.
The Order of Saint Sylvester.
Yes, and there is another hunter on the loose, and he's trying to find Clovis Potter to get rid of him.
So Clovis Potter, it seems, at the very least, the Order of St. Sylvester believes that he is alive, and this Barnabas Steele is on the hunt for them. However, when you looked into the particulars of it, you may recall there were some anomalies about the attack that suggest that it may not have been a vampire at all.
Yeah.
Or perhaps a further mutation of the vampiric serum, allowing vampires to operate in the bright of day. So all good stuff, right? All good development.
Yes.
I mean, you have a
Everything's
party
fine.
to look forward to with Dr. Ersprung, so there's that. And, okay. You also had one... Do you remember the name of the land acquisition company that came up in your investigations?
That was Larkmont Corporation, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. Yeah. So, then, is there anything else that we've left out here just to bring ourselves all up to speed on where we are? You did actually, I think you observed something as well, Basil, didn't you, after following that guy?
I'm not sure right now because I'm even not sure where exactly we ended. So and I haven't got the time, or I haven't found the time to look the last 5 minutes up. So
So where we left was, I believe, with all of you guys returning back to the Shadow Illuminations office, and Golag going to meet up with his Skulldug, the contact he has in his father's, the Paridar Detective Agency. And then you were led into the back, and in the back is where you found... hold on. Oh, picture back in a moment. You got it. Okay. The Skulldug found his... Or not Skulldug, Golag found his father waiting to have a secret conversation in the back. Seemingly about Brother Loeb. So... there's also an associate professor of infernal studies that you're going to meet with that Professor Galberry had referred you to. Okay, then, anything else we need to situate before we dive into today's session?
I don't know.
Nada?
Nope.
I think that's...
Yeah, I think that's enough to be getting on with, I'll be honest.
Like a list of 10 things. Anything else we need to keep track of? We're working on that conspiracy board for you there, Basil.
Well, World Peace put that on the list as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, then we will open our scene with Golag standing in the doorway of this private room where his father gestures to the table. And you may recall the last thing we saw was that Doc had asked to hear what you knew about Loeb and put down a pretty sizable stack of one of his, the folders, the files he keeps on the subjects of investigations. Now, what you may recall is that you heard he had destroyed all of that stuff. That at a certain point in the investigation, he abandoned it and burned all the stuff, which was very unlike your father. So this does seem... perhaps confirming two things about your father. For one, he still is loath to destroy any kind of investigative stuff, and also two, he's a scheming liar.
Yeah.
So, but also very well tailored. My goodness, look at that the suit. He's jealous of his non-torn suit jacket and pants. So,
yeah.
Golag, what do you wish to do?
Let's see. Well, he just asked me that. I tell him, well, we were personally involved because Dr. Adam Ersprung's clinic was burned to the ground, similar to these churches. We believe the source is likely the same, so my company is involved beyond just being hired. It was attacked itself in this way.
So you've made it personal.
Well, someone else has. We certainly didn't ask for that to happen.
Who's paying you to investigate this, then?
Is anyone paying us for this, Kevin? No.
No, that's just a personal...
That's gonna give Go like a heart attack.
Yeah, he realizes, it's the end of, what do you call it, Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
Wait, they've tricked me! I'm paying for this investigation!
He says, well, our entree into this is someone burning down our locations. Unless one wants that to potentially continue, we felt we needed to look into it. Not to mention showing weakness isn't helpful, Father. Figuring that would appeal to his whatnot.
Let's get some dice rolling here. Why don't you give us a perception check? Let's see if you can. The difficulty is not going to be terribly high because you know your father. Mm-hmm. At least grab the DM screen here. There you go. Yeah, he tries to hide it, but there's a little, twitch in the corner of the mouth that shows that he's pleased by your justification for this, and perhaps you're showing strength as well too. Nobody wanted an orc to succeed as the best detective agency in Paridar, and yet here we are. So he nods. And he says, "Keep those justifications in mind."
Indeed. We have determined that there is almost certainly a Brimerack involved. Someone has invoked one to involve itself in these burnings, and that person is almost surely this Father Loeb. That is almost surely in that stack of yours, nodding at the, his paperwork.
He nods. Oh, you have uncovered the occult connection.
Yes. We have... what is the ministry? Remind me. What's the ministry?
The Ministry of Internal Affairs. Those are the ones who shut down his investigations and are trying to shut down our investigations as well. So there seems to be some kind of connection.
We were at the site of this last church burning and the death of Father Timothy Tilcott, which you are certainly aware of. And in the midst of having a look at the site, the Ministry of Internal Security shut us down, quite suspiciously, I might add, where even me walking around the site sent them into palpitations.
You noticed them?
They were hard to miss. I was trying to simply have a look into the church, and looking for the constable's name. A certain...
Willard Duffy. Willard Duffy. There was a Constable Duffy around.
Was he the good guy or the bad guy? Was he the bad guy?
I think Duffy's the good guy, isn't he?
Yes. I think he's a good guy, but okay.
Carruthers was a good guy, but
there was a bad guy in there.
I thought Carruthers.
Carruthers, yeah, Constable Carruthers. You're right. Yeah, Duffy's the bad guy. Yeah.
Oh, Duffy's the bad guy. Good job. There was a Constable Duffy that I thought was going to need medical attention as I got closer to the church, ready to arrest me for merely wanting to take a peek inside.
And what did you make of Mois's involvement?
What did he say, Mois's?
Mois. He's referring to the Ministry of Internal Security.
Oh, got it. Of course. Acronym, Father. Says, well, how high up it goes is the obvious. makes it as a challenge to it, of course. They surely are connected to this Father Loeb, since he's at the center of the burnings. Surely he's there at every one, along with this Brimerack that he perhaps controls, though I don't know that this Loeb is really the one pulling the strings.
Who do you think is pulling the strings?
I don't know that we really did. We discuss who's pulling the strings? I can't. Nothing's coming up in my mind.
No, and you guys can feel free to. Golag would have his head more in this, and we did not take a month off between.
Yeah. So I think
I got the quick quiz. I was almost like when Kevin's like, "We're going to go right to this comment." I'm like, "No."
If you want to help Sean out with insights, you can assume these are discussions that the characters would have had. You guys, the characters had plenty of afternoons and evenings and carriage rides and whatnot to talk through this stuff. So I'm fine with you guys doing that to help situate where Golag's head is right now.
So I'm so Basil is more and more convinced that this is a really elaborate way to get property and to some kind of housing scheme. And this Lagman Corporation, they burn down stuff, and then there are houses on sale, so they can reshape certain areas in town. There was the talk about property that has been sold or was supposed to be sold to this Lagman Corporation. We don't know who owns that, but I'm pretty sure that these Lagman guys are behind what's going on there, or somehow really deeply connected.
Yeah, they certainly purchased most of the buildings around that church fire that were up for sale. So
we've determined it's the same company, Father, that has bought property in these areas of the burnings, named Lockmar Corporation. We think they have something to do with the arson, so no surprise, could still be profits at least a large part of the motivation. We don't know enough about this occult, this cult that you mentioned, that perhaps provides other motivations. What else?
And
we think,
my boy, what are your intentions?
Our intentions are to get to the bottom of it. The Moes notwithstanding,
and then
we're pretty. Well, we'll have to see where it goes.
This is the problem with undertaking investigations at your own recognizance. As a detective, your job ends when a mystery is solved. When you're doing it for yourself, what do you do once you've got your answers?
Well, we'd like to put an end to the burnings. I would say that's a worthy goal. Certainly to our own burnings, that would be advantageous.
And to those as yet unknown parties pulling the strings.
Yes. So I would say at a base level, put an end to the burnings and find out who is involved, and at that end, possibly send this Brimerack back where it belongs. And that's really, I think, where it stands for us. If there are further steps, they may reveal themselves upon our discoveries in the mystery, but those are our goals.
So your focus is on the and not the mind that derives it.
Well, Well, I mean, they're intricately connected. We definitely want to know who's responsible. Or else we probably won't be able to stop it. So.
He looks over at a painting that's hanging on the wall to the left. This place again is you think of the like overly ornate things you see at like an old pub. There's lots of wood paneling, and there's wall paintings of like ships or I don't know, pastoral lands. Everything very dark, muted colors. But he looks over at this painting. Mr. Thornborn, I believe you should join us. And you hear the sound of footsteps from the hallway where he came. The door opens, and in walks a man who, do you remember when you used your shadow to spy in on the Mois carriage? Mm-hmm. Do you remember there was, I believe he was a half-elf man?
He was in the carriage?
And he was watching, yeah.
A little bit.
Okay.
Keep going.
Well, this man who walks in, he seems human, but he seems almost like he could be somehow, even though he is fully human, he could be a relative. He's that common. He's about 5'7", thin, charcoal-colored suit, a like crisp white shirt underneath, a maroon cravat around his neck, and in his lapel he has some of the white blossoms of Paridar, those ubiquitous flowers that seem to grow everywhere, grow on other plants. He walks in, and he has small circular spectacles. You would think of them as sunglasses nowadays because of the dark frames that come in. He walks in. He has like severe clean shave, to the fact if he was not so obviously so old, you would think that he perhaps could not even grow facial hair. But he walks in and looks at you with a pale blue set of eyes, and he nods. Mr. Golag, and your father gestures and says, "Son, this is Price Thornborn, our man from Mois."
Mr. Thornborn.
And he nods, gestures, "Might I have a seat?"
Of course.
So he sits down, and I'll put his name.
Have I ever heard of him before, Kevin?
No.
Okay.
You have heard of the men from Mois, though, because they are... this is the Ministry of Internal Security, so if Paridar could be thought of as having a secret police, this is as close as it's going to get to it. They generally only involve themselves in things relating to the state, though. They're not like the diffusion of power in Paridar is such that like the government has power, but there are industrialists who have fortunes that would rival that of the government as well. So they are secret agents who effectively work for the government in particular, as opposed to, say, your fathers, the Daxmen, who are often hired to act at the behest of industry. So he sits down, he crosses his fingers. The door closes behind. You see your Skulldug closes the door behind once again, and he says, "Son, Mr. Thornborn is the reason that elected to make a more discreet investigation of our brother Loeb and those, the corporation, Larkmont Corporation, and those that direct it.
So you didn't stop your investigation, you just took it out of eyesight, is that correct, Father?
Indeed. And Mr. Thornborn says, at my request. When we were intent on continuing the investigation, until your colleague, Dr. Adam Ersprung, when his clinic was targeted, we could not tell whether it was a move to signal their understanding of our investigation and a threat indirectly at your father through your interests, or whether it was simple happenstance or coincidence. And your father says, yes, it seems it's just coincidence, but of course, the son of Dak could not leave such things alone. So now you've moved in.
Indeed.
Your involvement with this is not something that we can undo. A bell has been rung. It cannot be unrung. But with you directing their attention, then we, and Mr. Thornborn leans in, and in a, like, his eyes have a coldness to them that is almost inhuman. And he says, with them looking at you, we can make our move.
And what move would that be, Mr. Thornborn?
The particulars of the outcome of your father's investigation are state secrets, I'm sure you can understand. But there is certainly a role that you can fill in this that you seem eager to fulfill in any event. Your father leans in and says, I had Skuldag warn you about involvement with this. I had him bring that to you to try and call you off. He has powerful benefactors. Loeb, for what he is a pet of those. There is a cabal active in the city. Your involvement with Eckhart, that was but one of their machinations. We have yet to see their full complement, but seizing control of Eckhart Industries and the riches associated with it was but one of the steps in their overall conspiracy. Now the Mois and the government, they are taking steps, but they are, without knowing the full identities of those that act against the interests of Paridar, care must be taken. But now, if you take this man out, it may prompt them to rework their scheme. There's the Thornborn leans forward and says, there is more at work here than simple. There is a grand art they are trying to work on Paridar, and we will see that thwarted. The future shall not belong to the cabal. And there's something about that without being in the room with Thornborn, there is a level of menace to that is disquieting to you, Golag.
So what individual is pulling Loeb's strings? I shared with you what I knew, Father. What do you know?
Thornborn, still with a half smirk on his face, says, I'm afraid he's not at liberty to trade. You are not wrong that Loeb has backers. There are those who are moving him into place, and he has a powerful ally and a growing flock. But we can assure you, if you move against Loeb, you can put an end to these fires, and then we can take steps against those who directed him. Doc leans in and says, this, my boy. What do you think his pet name is for you? Like when he is, the few times when you guys do connect, when he really is showing favor, which I imagine is not a lot of times, how do you think he refers to you? Does he have a nickname for you? Is he like Golly?
Golly. Sure, I guess. Yeah.
Is that perhaps something that maybe your mother used with you, and then with her passing, he never really used it afterwards?
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, that'd be. I don't have anything else in mind, so that'd be fine. Yeah.
So he says, and again, I think perhaps since your mother's passing, you haven't heard him use this. Golly, there are forces at work here. There is a grander scheme than what you can perceive. Trust that if you intend to follow through against the AND, we will see that the mind does not direct anything further against you.
Is he calling it the hand? Is that what he
had referred earlier to you moving against the hand, but not the mind.
Yeah. So you feel that our task, that Loeb is the key. If Loeb is dealt with, then this would deal with the Brimrack, and it would put an end to that with Loeb's demise.
The Cabal thinks that your involvement is because you are unsophisticated in your planning, that you are impetuous in your decision-making, and that you lack a perspective on the grander scheme. We would not change that assessment. The Cabal is many things. Petulant and vengeful is not something we have seen. They are cold and calculating. And they have waited a long, long time for their plan. So long as they continue to think you act independent of Moas and your father, they have no reason to act against you in retribution.
They will not try to revenge Loeb's demise, you don't think?
He is a pet. They will find another.
And this Lockmar stands behind Loeb, you feel?
Larkmont is involved. They are creature of the Cabal. Like him. And Eckhart Industries. Also a creature of the Cabal now.
Why was... Well, so you don't... What is it that you do know about the attack on Dr. Ersprung's clinic? Why was it... what are your theories of why it was targeted?
He looks over at Thornborn, and Thornborn says, as far as we know, none. They seem unaware of Dr. Ersprung's affiliation, and they seem to find easy way to stoke Loeb's madness so that his pet would carry out his vengeance.
Let's see. Remind me who so I know who Llewellyn Patterson is?
That was the dead guy, but we found woman's footprints near the corpse who had his chest bust in. So there is supposed to be this woman who tried to frame Adam, and we still don't know whether it was his ministry who tried to frame Adam to get us out of there, or whether this was someone else. And the only thing I would be interested in was whether the ministry tried to frame Adam or whether it was someone else.
And what were they trying to frame you for?
Murder.
I don't remember.
Yeah, the murder of that person there. After the temporary setup of the medical sort of, I don't know, facility. When the church was burned down, there was all sorts of people in need of assistance, and someone was making a lot of noise and accusing me of all sorts of things, and then they found that same person dead that evening. Like Ingolf was saying, that there was like 2 pairs of footprints, the big hooves, and then a woman's pair of footprints at the scene.
The man had returned to try and burn down, it seems, it tried to burn down Adam's, or Dr. Ersprung's impromptu clinic, but then he was found stomped to death.
There was an effort to frame Dr. Ersprung for a murder. What do we know of that?
Your father looks over at Mr. Thornborn, and Price just, again, there's that same, unnerving intensity to his eyes, and he says, that had nothing to do with the Cabal.
What purpose? Go ahead. Go ahead, Price.
If you find more information about that, Mois would be grateful for it. And your father his eyes snap over for a brief second. You see a little bit of concern. And then Thornborn says, we believe that we would be interested in hearing if Dr. Ersprung's past comes to haunt him.
What do I know about Dr. Ersprung's past? Is there anything that we've connected so far?
Very
Nothing.
little. He was found wandering by Dr. Ravenscroft, and eventually found his way into Ravenscroft's care. He had an incredible talent for not only surgery, but also for the sciences and for invention. He developed sort of very easily went into the practicing of these things, but I actually don't know where Dr. Ersprung came from.
So it's a bit of a mystery to us?
And to Dr. Ersprung.
Mm-hmm.
If you are getting the feeling that Mr. Thornborn enjoys being the man who knows more than anyone in the room. That is an absolutely correct read on him. He is an insufferable person to be around. Golag, would you give us a perception check, please?
All right.
See if something is picked up here. Oh, and everyone gets, 2 hero points. I've been asleep at the wheel here. Speaking of which, would you like to spend a hero point and reroll that?
Sure.
Cam. There you go. So, weren't his eyes blue a moment ago? Because his eyes are now green.
And did I notice that anything in particular?
No, it just like you didn't see them shift. It just when you met him and you saw him, he had that like it had that almost like sky, like pale sky blue. They are distinctly a slight darker shade of green now. And because you've been going back and forth, it must maybe. I mean, you're confident in your perceptions with a roll that good. That they're just a different color right now.
How involved is the church in all this? How high up does that go?
He looks and your father kind of looks at Mr. Thornborn and he says, "You should not concern yourself with that. Focus on the hand. Leave the mind to us."
I don't think I can help but an eye roll at being told by my father not to involve myself in whatever nonsense.
Such is the relationship between parents and children. Do as I say, not as I do, right?
Yeah. And I give a scornful. I just can't even.
And he leans in and he says, "Golly, if they think your actions against Loeb are in direct response to his involvement with Dr. Ersprung, they will see you as we wish them to see you, not as you are. But if you continue on up the ladder, if you continue uncovering stones, if you continue asking what mind drives the hand, then they will see you as a threat." And Mr. Thornborn leans in. "I understand that you had occasion to meet Mr. Eckhart last Yule, was it not?"
Yes.
"If they could do such a thing to the wealthiest and most powerful man in Paridar, what do you think it would take for them to similarly squash you?"
Well, I am used to threats, and I did not involve myself in their business. Their business involved themselves in mine. So, taking care is always part of this business. Golag looks at his father. But backing down shows weakness. Not something I was brought up to do. And I kind of bore with my father's eyes. And I say, perhaps I'm not entirely opposed to fulfilling a role in this plan, but I will need to know more. Ultimately, I'm not Loeb. I'm still kind of just looking at my father, I think. I'm not ignoring Price Thornborn, but I'm mainly looking at my father, and I say, I'm no Father Loeb, and I'll fulfill a role, but I won't be a tool. And
so Thornborn then speaks and says, then perhaps there is more you can do in time. You look over, and there is, he has the impression of a cat looking at a delicious treat. And he says, then, fulfill the task with the strategy as set out by your father. There will be other fights against the Cabal. This is a war, not a single battle.
There are multiple motivations for my firm here. One is defense of its own, but our usual motivations are money and information. And I'm wondering where this falls in the latter two. For our role in this.
The currency of your profession. It is the currency of my own as well. Perhaps. I understand that you have been approached to investigate a missing crew.
Yes.
Perhaps if you do this for us, we may offer some payment in the currency of our kind. You're unconsciously flicking that business card.
Very well, Mr. Thornborn. That's of interest to me. Anything you think specifically we're missing at this point in our role in this that you would like us to focus on in particular?
Your father is the one who interjects here, and he says, take care. He is but a creature of... When we take our break, I'm going to close the blinds. I don't know what's driving her nuts out there, but something is. Take care. Loeb is but a creature of them, and he was chosen well. If you face him, you face a devil from hell as well. And his madness has made him powerful. The prayers of the heavenly host did not protect Timothy. And they are, you think it not curious, the Order of St. Sylvester takes no interest in a devil burning down their city. They may have other things looking to interfere or support him. Take care, plan well, and destroy this threat. And Mr. Thornborn then says, and then we can discuss the investigation into the ship. I think we can prove Mois may provide some insight into that enduring mystery.
And lastly, I will say that if my firm is not to, down the road, continue to not step on toes into your ongoing war with this cabal, that my firm's involvement may need to continue, or else we may just be blundering around.
Thornborn says, they think you a child blundering around and avenging yourself to a slight done to your friend. Whatever further interference you may have, let them think it is inadvertent.
That is the plan. But even beyond this immediate battle,
Thornborn smiles and says, you are your father's son, in no doubt. There are some questions that will not find answers. And you must at some point accept that.
Just thinking down the road that...
Focus on the task at hand, and then deal with the next to come.
I think I ignore that, and I say that my firm should be considered for future work, lest we interfere inadvertently in your own. But I appreciate your advice.
You look over and you realize his eyes are once again back to icy blue. And you don't know when that change happened, and he's looking at you over those circular spectacles. Oh, Mois will most certainly have our eyes on you and keep you in our thoughts.
Just spell the firm's name correctly, and all is well.
Okay. Dax says, then, we should go. We have spent enough time here. Go, leg. He's back to whatever tenderness he was expressing. It's gone now. Don't disappoint us. And he turns, and the door opens, and he walks out. Mr. Thornborn turns. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Golag. Turns and walks past Skuldug. Skuldug then, once they're gone, he comes in, closes the door after them, and he says, I'm sorry, my boy. Well, I think you understand, no?
No, it's fine. Yes.
No. Oh, you're ready to play act? For any who might be watching.
Sure. What does that involve? A tray of drinks?
Our usual place. An exchange of documents what say nothing. Can you spare time for lunch with me?
Yes. I was about to suggest the same.
Okay. So you guys go out. Well, after a moment, you both leave the back room. You go out and you go through a full lunch. And we don't need to necessarily role play through that, but you can trust that whatever. It's as if you were having a meeting with him for the first time with this. So once that is concluded, you're able to go back. And what is going through Golag's mind as he is driving back? Because it is the height of summer still, you can see all the trees are lush with, and all the lush with leaves, or the bushes lush with flowers. And what you can see as you're going along is, of course, the ever-present white blossoms of Paridar. It reminds you of those pale blue, or were they green, eyes of the man from Moas. What's going through your mind?
It's helpful. It offered more structure to the investigation. he's annoyed that the information flow was so unidirectional, although he presumes that probably his father knew, 90 some odd percent of probably what I told him, given that he'd already investigated this, prior.
So if they weren't learning anything from you, what do you think because I mean, imagine Golag is turning his mind to who profits from this. What was the purpose of the meeting then?
I mean, it was probably there was probably at least a side objective of seeing if I had anything they didn't have. And of course, I can't know what they had. So maybe I provided them something, but just in general, I probably did not provide them with the revelation that they didn't know, is what I surmise. But their main objective is they probably thought it was time to risk bringing me in, and therefore knowing, risk my role of being of my motivation, letting me know that there's more to, or confirming that there's more to it, because they figured I'd learned enough, that the firm had learned enough that we were going to be moving on beyond, we would probably move beyond Loeb, that, that it wasn't realistic that we would stop there. Mm-hmm. And so they needed to go ahead and put it, they had to let us in on some of that to make sure we didn't go beyond it, or at least try to keep us from going beyond it. So I think that was the primary. The primary was to keep us from going beyond that level. Secondarily, see if we found something out they perhaps didn't know. And to make sure we were aimed in the right direction, which they figured we already were, because that was Dr. Ersprung's, his, it coincided nicely that, get rid of Loeb, which is what we were already doing, but just make sure that was the case. Mm-hmm. And I think that seems approximately.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So he's, once you arrive back home, unless there's something else you want to have happen in between, why don't we have the debrief with everybody? Because I'm assuming you've brought, if they're not at home, they're probably not far from it. But they thought you were just going out for a quick meeting with your regular contact. They did not understand what was going to transpire. So what do you think?
Yeah, so I bring everyone around, have
Sylvan.
Can't remember his name. What was it? Sylvan. Yeah.
Sylvan. Yeah.
Yeah. So have.
You keep forgetting. Hey, you, come here.
Yeah. He's like, Sylvan, sir. Kind of an embarrassment. Yes. Of course I knew. Sylvan. Have some snacks and whatever. So I had and when everyone's there and we close the door of the study, which probably reflects there's a certain unnecessary
flourish.
What's that?
A flourish?
Yeah, I mean, because it's really not necessary. Like, who else is here?
Closes the door, lowers his head, and then turns to everyone.
Right, yeah. Because I mean, if the door's open, what? Like, what are we closing off to exactly? No one else is around, But it's like kind of officious, It's a matter of import and probably to infer a bit more secrecy, even though it's unnecessary. They say, well, my meeting was not with who I thought it was. It turns out it was with my father and a member of the Ministry of Security, Price Thornborn.
Ministry of Internal Security, MOIS.
Internal Security. It turns out that my father did not quit this investigation at all, much less destroy his results. In fact, he is deep deeply involved in it through this Christ Thornborn. Apparently there is a powerful cabal arrayed against the city that involves even our investigation, some of our prior investigations, including with who's the industry master's name?
Elwood T. Eckhart.
With Eckhart. The short of it is, they do not want us interfering in the highest levels of this investigation, meaning beyond Loeb and into this cabal. Apparently, they believe that the cabal thinks that we are uninformed of the cabal's existence. Not entirely incorrect, of course, but we were heading there in our investigation. And so they want us to essentially continue on with that, take out Loeb one way or another, which would they believe also, as we do, that it would stop the burnings and deal with the Brimarack. And while we are doing that, they believe that we will provide basically a distraction, since Father is not ostensibly working on this any longer. It leaves him and this Thornborn to deal with the cabal behind it all. They were uncertain as to whether the attack, it seemed to surprise them, the attack on your clinic, or at least that neighborhood, Dr. Ersprung, and they weren't certain as to the purpose of that attack and whether it was done because of my relation with my father. But they at this point, they are going under the assumption that that is a coincidence. And it is just more of the same of these fires that most certainly involve this Lockmar. Is Lockmar incorrect? Lockmar?
Larkmont.
Larkmont. Got it. Larkmont. Of this Larkmont corporation, which is a tool of the cabal, as is Loeb. They have cautioned us that the cabal is extremely powerful and to not get too curious, to continue on, and that it would interfere with the ministry's work. In return, they have offered, after we've taken out Loeb, Thornborn has offered that the ministry would assist us in our investigation of the missing crew as payment.
The ship was, I was looking up the ship. I think is the Blackwall.
The Blackwall. In the mystery of the Blackwall. That is about cover it, I believe.
You asked about the framing of Dr. Ersprung as well.
I did. And what did they say? They said
it was basically the people that maybe are in connection to Eden's Ursprung, so at its origin. So it's
oh yes, and I think I probably start to finish and then say, oh, and they are Dr. Ersprung. You may be curious or disturbed to learn that the ministry is quite interested in your originations, your genesis. As a side note, I seem to gather, I don't know that it has necessarily anything to do with this situation, yet this Thornborn surprisingly showed interest in where you came from.
So I think it was a little bit differently, actually. So he said that the guys who framed Adam, or who basically stopped the guy who was putting the fire to Adam's new clinic, were somehow connected. Those guys were somehow connected to Adam's origin and the way he came into being.
That's
So-
it. It was I think that you guys might be saying the same thing, but it's
Okay.
what he was alluding to was that whatever the person who killed the guy who was trying to burn down his clinic, that is apparently a connection to Adam's past.
So, and that is interesting because we already found that someone in the city was collecting body parts. So there seems to be a strange coincidence of events centering around Adam for whatever reason.
Yeah,
So,
Dr. Ersprung, you found what, two different?
Two bodies have been found, sort of created bodies, if you want to call them that, or
That's right.
patchwork bodies.
That are a little bit like our occasional colleague, right? What's his name? Our puppet, the PC.
No, these are actually, they're closer to what Dr. Ersprung.
Okay.
They seem to be like created or crafted patchwork people, as it were.
I see. Yeah. And so is the notion that the fire was the inference that the fire is unconnected to Loeb and is connected entirely to Earthsprung's? Did you get that from?
no, it was completely opposite. The original fire is completely connected to Loeb.
Yeah.
But for strange reasons now, persons who have an interest in Adam himself, they seem to intervene into a possible second fire. So in other cases, this Loeb guy would have burned down the new clinic and the church as well. But he was stopped by some people who are connected to Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some
But by-
involvement, Dr. Ersprung, with your origination. People from your past have involved themselves for unknown reasons.
I can't say it's not something that I've spent many nights thinking of myself. But the strange thing is those hoof prints at the scene.
They weren't hoof; they were boot. Okay, the hoof prints were at the outside of the fire in the church. They were not. There were no hoof prints found where that body was. There were giant boot prints, which is why they suspected
right.
you.
Yeah. So he was crushed.
Also, you
rather
sent me
than-
that text to say that you did kill the man. So I mean, there's that too. But we're keeping that from everyone else. So. No, it was so the hoof prints were found at the church, but those were burned things going into the church itself, not around where that man was murdered near your clinic.
Yeah. So Adam, do you remember that maybe you're not one of the kind? Maybe you have kind of siblings?
I have no memories of it, but I wouldn't rule it out after finding these other bodies around the city. Who constructed, or who is the inventor or the maker of my people, if you want to call them that? I have no knowledge of that.
I have a strange feeling that that person wears female shoes, or shoes for females.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. We have the footprints, so.
But we once we have your information from your spy on Loeb, then we have the go ahead to rid the city of this menace. So
Yeah, our target is clear. This adds more, even though it is irritatingly opaque, it offers more structure to our endeavor. Confirms, though vaguely, confirms some things we've been thinking. That certainly it did not end with Loeb. And certainly it had to involve this Larkmont, and it does. And reconfirms that we need to target this Loeb. Loeb is our, as we were really already thinking, he is our target to unravel fully, as well as this demon. And they did reconfirm that it is there. They agree that this Brimarack is involved, a entity of hell that we will most surely have to confront if we confront Loeb, which is, of course, what we were already thinking, but one more confirmation thusly. And at least it adds additional, at least we will be apparently compensated at this point beyond just getting to the bottom of this attack on Dr. Ursprung's clinic, which was enough, but it is nice to be also compensated beyond that. And not to mention, so compensated in a direct way, apparently, by assistance with the Blackwall case, but then also a inferred, not necessarily explicit, not explicitly by Thornborn, but hard not to realize that we will now have an ingress, a certain liaison with the Ministry of Internal Security, and we will be obviously already involved in this, in dealing with this cabal. So perhaps some business from the ministry in the future, which was certainly not discussed, but our chances go up from where we were at least. So there is that.
And talking of dealing with this Brimarack, am I right in saying that we've still got these cold iron? Was it cold iron weapons? Or?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that something that Igor's got as well? Have I made a modifications?
I mean, you could spend time to like retrofit his. The thing with cold iron is I don't believe it holds up to oxidation terribly well. So, and it's not really, it's more brittle than what brass or any kind of alloy is. But if you wanted to say, retrofit his hands or gauntlets with cold iron on them, I think that would just cost you a little bit of money and a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think that would be something that I would set to.
Okay.
I don't know, would 25 gold cover that? Or
Let's see here. I think like of the special components or special materials, this is the one that is like the cheapest or among the cheapest. Let's double check here, see if my memory is incorrect.
Or if nothing else, I would use the sort of warhammer that I got and sort of try and melt it down and add that potentially.
Here we go. So here we go. So cold iron looks like normal iron, but is mined from a particularly pure source and shaped with little or no heat. The process is extremely difficult, especially for high-grade cold iron items. A typical cold iron chunk, which would be a bulk of light, so about equal to enough you would need to make like a cold iron, Kestis or bronze knuckles, cold iron knuckles, would be 10 gold. So if you want to do both, it would be 20 gold.
Okay. Yep. Okay. I shall look into that.
Okay.
Get that done.
And then, so why don't we do this, guys? We're at our mid-session right now. Anyway, why don't we take our mid-session break now? We'll come back, and then you guys can strategize how you wish to recover the spy, and then how you wish to, what you wish to do next. So, back momentarily.
So, James and Darren, maybe you can help me out. So, who was the guy we helped when there was this thing with the union where this was also Eckert Industries, wasn't it?
Well, I was investigating Echo Industries, weren't they? It was the insurance company were trying to find out what was going on.
But there was this one worker was killed who was and he was and this was Frederick Eckert then we had to deal with.
I've got going back to that. Was it Iggy? And
Iggy was the union leader.
So I've got Dudley. Dudley Gabb was a Daxman from the Paridar Detective Agency, hired by Blackacre to monitor the Union. Furman Wynn, Underworld Contact. That was someone else. What else we got? So what guy was it specifically?
So, but yes, I was just interested. Which company was this? I can't find it in my notes.
What was investigating the Blackacre?
Blackacre. And so we were talking to some guy who was running Blackacre, and he was called something Blackacre. No.
Eckart was the guy who was
Blackacre
changed, wasn't he?
Isn't that the guy who owns the tinning? That was the investigation you guys had that it uncovered the gargoyle or margoyle, wasn't it?
Yes. And I was just thinking about what the name of the guy was that owned this company, and this was Blackheart or something. Blackacre.
Andrew Blackacre?
Yeah. Andrew Blackacre and Sons.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. So all this Frederick Eckert business was before I joined this campaign. Yes, this just the first 2 sessions. I just had to
Eckert, yes, was the what is it? The Harrow Haunts of Yule, where
this was the Dickens.
Yes.
Turned around. Yes.
Exactly. And then Eckhart's statue is the one that was built on the broken spire as well Eckart Green.
Yeah. So I have to watch those now and look for very tiny clues.
Easter eggs.
All right. Yeah. It's been fun over the the course of this campaign, knowing that if a clue or something or whatnot doesn't see the light of day in one session, like, man, it can sit there and lie. Plenty of time.
I mean, it didn't come up in the meeting. I will perhaps say in our broader discussion in the study, but one wonders if this, given the depth apparently of this cabal and their threat to the city, one wonders if there's any connection to what we have historically discovered about these spires and the unknown spire under the water. And even though surely the existence of the creature that came through that we battled in the lake has unlikely anything to do with the cabal, just the existence of the portal it used, you wonder if it has any place. I didn't think to bring it up in my meeting with the ministry, but that is the existence of that portal is historic, and it wouldn't be surprising if such a thing had a role to play in such a large threat to the city like the cabal. It may not have anything to do with it, but it's worth having on the table. I just didn't think to bring it up.
I think sometimes it might be worth us hanging on to some information in case it's good for us to use as leverage with this fawn burn.
So the most relevant question is whether the Whisker Network is behind all of this or whether they are not. I mean, come on.
But of course, the Whisker Network doesn't exist, so...
Yes.
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about.
So then...
the Whisker Network.
Yeah, exactly. So then, what is the plan? I guess first off, you can top up your hero points as well. Go legs here, all 3. And then it makes it easier for me to have to remember it for every half hour. Then, what are you guys thinking here? What are the next steps?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we were going to go to the mission to confront this, where we believe Loeb dwells. Is that not correct? So, I mean, we're doubled and tripled down on that, in essence. Is there something else you want to do first?
So I think I found a back entrance. That was not the problem, but if I remember correctly, they were meeting underground or something like that.
Yeah, he described that there is something underground.
Yeah, and so I mean yeah. Normally, I would say let's go there in the daylight, and it's really hard to say, well, you were the one attacked when you have a demon on your side or a devil for the whole world to see. But if this is underground, I don't know. So we have to sneak in and get to attack them underground. Otherwise, we have to fight our way through just a bunch of misguided souls who fell victim to the this kind of church business. Let me put it this way.
I've got 2 thoughts. One, that we need to recover your clockwork spy to see if that gives us any sort of information or advantage with making plans. And secondly, is it a possibility that the doctor could be used as some sort of bait almost if there was another clinic set up? Would that draw them out rather than going into the spider's web, as it were? Would they come looking again? Would we be able to, set us a trap?
I mean, we could make up signs or something and say that this there's maybe an abandoned building or something, that there will be the new clinic, and maybe try to lure them to get there and to burn that down as well, because they tried already to burn the temporary clinic down as well.
I'm just trying to think if we could lure them out rather than go to them.
Well, I mean, we could say that you will open here in Golak's home. I think that is an excellent place for them to attack us. Golak, don't you think?
It has traditionally been when monsters come and try and kill you.
So we're thinking that it was directly attacking the clinic and not just the neighborhood. Have we've determined that?
I think that for some reason they are going after Adam now, and maybe just because he's kind of a nuisance, I suppose. I think maybe it's...
In what way?
Yeah, it's like personal for Brother Loeb now. So he can't get rid of Adam. He always comes back.
And why do we think Dr. Earthsprung came to Loeb's attention? Like what role does that play in the...
I think he's maybe like a fanatic, and he sees Adam as kind of an abomination. And when
he did mention that, didn't he? I think when he came into the clinic, spouting off.
Oh, okay.
So and maybe he's just in charge of getting burning some things down to devalue the property so that someone else can buy buildings very, very cheap.
He could even be involved in the killing of the other sort of patchwork created flesh walk creatures from the city even.
And that could be true also, yeah.
But should we recover the clockwork spire?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How do you guys wish to do that? Last time, Dr. Ersprung provided a distraction riding in Golag's vehicle, and while Basil snuck in to position. I believe you put it in through a hole in the roof.
Yes, and it will crawl out at the same space, so I just have to get it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we could do the same. Actually, you could even shout, "I know what you did last night," and then.
Yeah, I could ask for an audience with Brother Lowe.
Yeah.
Throw insults.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he's up to it.
So we know exactly where it all is, right?
Yes, and we even know that there is a hidden layer underground, and we have some kind of. At least I got some description where to enter it. I suppose. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that whatever I was told is accurate, but I think he was not. He was not clever enough to come up with really clever lies or something, or with some kind of deception.
With the attacker in the alley, you mean?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're all piling into the mechanical wagon, or the motorized wagon, then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or carriage.
Yeah.
So so that you go rolling over into the what is it here? Barrowhead? Is that the name of the neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Head on over into the Barrowhead. Great neighborhood. This trip is actually I think we can bring you guys all over here. Let's see.
Let's look the neighborhood up on the map.
Yeah. That was definitely on my to-do list for the vacation, and then I just spent the whole time reading Blackbirds. All right, here we go. And I think I got everyone in place already. Great. So yeah, you head on over to the more no, have you guys on here? Yeah, great. The more depressed part of the neighborhood. This is the Alley of Death that you had from before. But Basil, you drop out, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
So why don't we do this then? Let's have Basil. Why don't you give us a stealth check, please?
Yeah. Seems to be my specialty from now on.
Nice.
So.
There we go. Nice.
23.
That's excellent. Okay. So Basil's like, we see, if someone was a keen observer, you'd see, and I guess what time of day do you guys wish to go? It was around afternoon when you guys met up after Golag's meeting with his father.
Yeah, I think we have to go in the evening because this clockwork spy, it takes about a day. So it was for 24 hours, so we have to patch it in the evening.
Okay. So perhaps when you pass one of the infrequent, gas-fueled lamps that you see, at one point Basil is on the back of the thing. You pass through a shadow and you come back and Basil's gone. And sneaking your way towards the mission. What is the plan for once you arrive at the mission?
I'm happy to sort of go and sort of knock on the door, as it were, and ask for an audience.
So as you're approaching, what you can see is that there is it's like before, there is a fairly big contingent of people standing outside. The mission is serving as sort of something akin to like what a homeless shelter might in a modern age. And there are probably about 20 souls milling around out front, all talking to one another. And as you pull up, you definitely get the novelty, and the giant sign on the side gets the attention of everyone. Golag taps it, lovingly, as he hops off. And then, Dr. Earthbound, what are you intending on doing?
I wanted to just look around. Are there any sort of what I would class as thugs or sort of guards, or?
There are definitely some people who look like they could handle themselves. Veterans, in fact. And in fact, there's probably at least one. There's one quite pale-looking fellow who is probably a corpseman, a recipient of the Dampiric serum. But so you've definitely got the attention. And it's a motley collection of all the different ancestries that can be found in Paridar. So there's certainly, probably a dwarf among them. There's maybe a gnome. There's what might be half-elves. There's a hobgoblin or two. But they all sort of look over at you guys as you approach, or as the thing stops in front of the mission.
Yeah. Well, knowing that Basil's somewhere trying to recover this thing, I'll make it really public and loud. Okay. I'll stand just outside the sort of the entrance, as it were.
Okay. So
say,
as soon as you get out, there is a crowd that sort of, some of the thug types are moving in a little closer, and they say, "Your kind's not wanted here, abomination. Your house of horrors is gone. You should be too."
I want to speak to Loeb.
And someone says, "There's no salvation for you here. Get out of here, monster." And the kids are all starting to join in. "Yeah, get out of here, monster." And there's a bit of hubbub from inside, and then Loeb seems to step at the door, and he says, "Brothers and sisters, wait." And they all fall silent. And he's standing there, wild-eyed. "What do you wish, monster?"
Why have you twisted the minds of these people? What
Would
is your
you
goal?
instead twist and warp their flesh, monster? To make them in your broken image? The Church of the Heavenly Host, the Heavenly Host, has no place in its light for one such as you.
I did not ask to be created, but I do what I can to help the people.
If you wish to be unmade, there are those here who could assist.
It seems you do have many pets. I've seen evidence of it.
Pets? I have no pets. I have a flock. And he gestures, and the crowd kind of mutters a little bit. These are those who would, who fall outside the purview of the church. They don't care for them. None do as I do, and as the light of the heavenly host does. You are a embodiment of the evil of this world. The twisted and evil ways that man will twist nature and the workings of the heavenly host to its own end. You are of the devil. You should be cast back into the pits with them.
And if I survey the crowd, does it seem like he's got some actual control over them other than sort of words? And...
Yeah, why don't you give us, what is the worst of your perception or your occult?
My occult is +10, my perception's 8 +8.
So why don't you give us a perception check? Because it's sort of having to draw on elements of each here. You want to spend a hero point?
Definitely gonna try that again.
There you go. So no, I mean, like, what you're seeing, it doesn't seem like there's like ensorcelment going on here, or at least what you're seeing is indistinguishable from any other sort of like genuine religious fervor.
But there's children and everyone's
Yeah.
in this flock.
It is not hard. I mean, like, even street corner preachers can sometimes whip up a mob here. There's a lot of, in Paridar, there's a lot of disadvantaged and people living in very challenging circumstances. So a lot of people looking for hope, and the fact that he's able to get that, he wouldn't necessarily need any kind of supernatural power to convince them to support him.
And does it look like they're treated fairly well? Do they look sort of?
Yeah. I mean, they don't look. They don't look They don't look particularly different from the people that you regularly see in your clinic. You know.
And do I see anyone that has previously been to my clinic?
Yeah, with a roll that good, probably. Yeah.
And they seem to be joining in and sort of.
Yeah, this is someone who you've helped probably with like a broken bone or something similar before, and yeah, like the fury they have in their face and the disgust is just, it's probably upsetting to a degree for you. Seems as if they're a completely, whether that was always the way they felt or whether it's been what he has stoked in them, it's unmitigated hatred that you see in their eyes right now.
But are those all humans, just or are they all sorts of creatures?
All sorts of different ancestries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
You
Sorry.
and your other, the son of spies. I see him up there. This is, I believe, the same day. Yeah.
I thought it was the next day. Because didn't we put the spy in place that night? And then we're returning 24 hours later?
Didn't you do it that night? Because you were attacked when you're on your way back from St. Ivy's, the seminary?
Yeah. That was, we went to St. Ivy's the day after we put the spy. So this is the same day. Okay. So this is just one day after we planted the spy.
Yeah.
So is he referring to me and the spy, or just...
As what? Oh, no, he's referring to Golag. Son of spies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who reads any kind of non-industry backed or non-capital backed newspaper, they would know exactly what Doc does. Doc is the cat's paw of the industrial class. He spies on the workers. He crushes, any kind of any kind of industrial action. He turns workers against one another. That's what Doc does. No, yeah, exactly. No, it sounds pretty good. And you,
running dog
That's
of the
about
bourgeois regime.
Exactly. So then he comes in. He says, "You should leave. You. This is not your place. You should leave here altogether. Take your Witch of the Sea and go."
Me and my companions will leave, but we will not stop trying to clean up this city. And I will be setting up.
He is unremittent in his efforts to spread his evil. And the crowd is definitely getting agitated about that.
And I will set up another clinic, and I will help the people of these poor streets.
And the heavenly host will burn it too. They will no longer welcome. The tide has turned against your wretched evil. You have no footing here any longer. Go. Run. But the light will find you, and you will burn. And the crowd kind of really gets agitated with that. You can see, I think, Sally, maybe you're the one who's in the best vantage without drawing attention to stuff, and your legendary perception score. I think you see one or two people are starting to like pick up, like chunks of broken brick or mortar or whatnot. Like they're going to start throwing it at them. Things are about to get ugly.
Do I think I've given Basil enough time to sort of find his way in?
Basil's pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, I won't turn, but I'll just back up.
Okay.
Sort of keeping eye contact with Loeb and many others. And I will be trying to pick out individuals that I've previously sort of helped and stuff and sort of...
So he
them
says,
a bit of
flee,
assignment."
monster. Flee, monster, as far as you can. The light will find you. And the light will find you, light will find you, light will find you. And they're all starting to chant that at you right now, and the crowd is slowly crushing in.
Yeah. Yep, so I'll back up and...
Am I close enough to... seems like probably maybe to try detect magic? I don't know if this is useful, but I'm just...
Yeah, you could. I believe Detect Magic has at least a somatic or a verbal component, so it might be obvious to those that you're casting magic, and you don't need to make an insight check to judge, like, if they see you trying to start casting magic, that might agitate the crowd even further. You certainly can try that anyway, though. But yeah, you're sitting on the front of you're at the at the wheel of this thing with your driving goggles and your driving gloves on.
I don't know why that's so amusing. the picture of that, but indeed. I mean, I wonder if let's see the driving. I'm picturing the carriage. The driving area is outside, right? You sit outside.
Yeah.
And then, but it has an interior too.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if Golag stepped inside the carriage as all that's going on. Is that a possibility to go in?
Yeah. Why don't you just give us a stealth check? Let's see how surreptitious you are.
Yep.
You guys are sitting on a bucket of hero points right now too, so hopefully.
No, we'll have to spend one.
Yeah, and not one. Yeah, you fall into the crowd. He attacks us.
Let's see. Stage dive. Oh, stage dive from the carriage into the crowd. Maybe that's what that was. Yeah.
Okay. That's not. So yeah, you're able to get down off of it, and I don't think anyone has noticed that you're gone as of yet. So then, so go ahead and click on Detect Magic.
Yep.
All right. So 30-foot emanation, which probably covers much of the crowd at this point. A pulse that registers the presence of magic. Let me think here. There is magic. Which would include... Oh, and you've got the heightened effect, right? No, it needs to be third level spell.
Third.
Yeah. So there is magic. There is something that what do you call it? There is something that what's his name? Brother Loeb has on him. You can't see it; it's concealed, but there is you can sense it through your magical, sixth sense.
A magical item, maybe, or something.
Most likely, yeah. It doesn't seem like an enchantment on him.
Yeah. Okay.
In case your eyes turn black for a moment.
Yeah.
And you can see Dr. Earthsprung is making his way back to the carriage, and the crowd seems to be getting a little ugly.
Let's see. And I'm keeping an eye open for Basil, to see if his return.
Oh, well, I mean, he's not going to return here. He's probably going to return elsewhere.
Yes,
got it.
I would just get back into the carriage where I got out. So I don't know.
Yeah.
A couple of 200 yards away or something. So
When Dr. Earthsprung, let's say, opens the carriage door, I'll head out. I mean, I'll get out to go back to the driver.
Okay. So you get back up, and then boom, and as you start up the engine, pop, 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 it starts going. You hear the first bang as a stone hits the side. And as you're pulling away, they're throwing bricks and shit at you. Bang, count. Fortunately, not you, but they're hitting the. Has to be buffed out. And then as you're, driving along, you disappear into blackness. You pass into light. There's nothing on the back of the carriage. You pass into blackness, and then you pass into light once again. And now there is a small Yasaki hanging off the back of the thing. So it is a block or two further before the door opens to the carriage. And Basil, you sit in with your clockwork spy.
So, how did it go?
As expected.
Yeah.
He's definitely turned his flock against me personally. It's almost like he's gotten brainwashed, but didn't seem to be using any sort of magic that I could tell, but I'm no expert in that field.
Yeah, I agree. There seemed to be a magic item on him, but I did not detect that he was under anyone's thrall. It's not my impression, at least, but he had some kind of magic bauble on him, at least. Yeah, I mean, what we thought before, that we'd like to avoid having to make our way through the throngs to get to Loeb if we can avoid it. If only there were fire alarms in these days. And maybe I pulled over to the side of the road to have this, after we're kind of out of the worst of it, out of the worst neighborhoods.
Okay.
Where we don't think we'll be just, there were a target sitting on the road. I'll pull over to have this conversation.
Sure. You guys could maybe stop outside of a park somewhere, maybe, whether it's well lit and there are people who may be walking at night.
Yeah.
So you think out of a certain irony, you would just start a fire in this mission? I don't know.
Well, I was just hoping to get the people to believe it so that they would leave. Yes, but
I think there might be fire bells. So if we had some kind of smoke thing, we could just pretend there is a fire. That would be possible.
We have to keep that in mind. How did your endeavor go, Basil?
Yeah, I put up this clockwork spy. We just have to investigate what it has recorded.
Very good. Well, I assume we're done with. There's no reason to stay near the mission. Then stay near his abode tonight. Then we can. Am I correct?
The only thing I would suppose is we have to keep very close guards, because now we have threatened him publicly in a way. So the last time we did that, we got attacked immediately after. You remember that?
We got it. Give me a little.
Not in this case, but in the case
Shadows
before that.
attacked, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes. So I think we should probably expect that there might be some kind of backlash happening tonight.
We'll be on our guard.
The pitchforks
Indeed.
might be out.
Yeah. Well, then I'll head back to the office.
Okay. Whoa.
And I'll give Sylvan that little update. That we should stay quite alert tonight, Sylvan. We have poked the nest, if you will, and I'll throw out some more bromides and cliches at him.
Yeah.
Some appropriate.
Then, sir, is it wise to have Miss Tabina and her children staying then? Perhaps for this evening, if you are expecting visitors, that they should be relocated.
Yes, that could be wise. It's not a certainty by any stretch, but we have indeed. And then I throw out 4 or 5 more cliches at him about shaking the nest and the hornets and the bees involved and badgers.
Yeah.
Yes, that sounds good.
The badger? Wait a minute.
The translation is lost in German.
We have taken the badger by one paw and shaken it over the city. if you will.
So
And
just yeah. No, I just had another idea, but just continue to.
No. Yes, that sounds good. So,
I would just be curious. So I have the idea that maybe there is those, those young fellas with nothing to do. Actually, maybe we could hire one or two of them to just stay outside and keep watch that no one is trying to approach the property or something like that. So just hire someone with I don't know, for a little coin to just stay outside and alarm us if something goes wrong.
Also have Igor on watch as well.
yeah, and I think that that probably is a standard. Whether it's with my father's firm or this one of having some lackeys once in a while. Some low-level lackeys that for probably just eyes, but maybe even a messenger once in a while. Or
I just want to caution you against using the word lackeys. That they can all hear you right now. So
yeah, well, that's a good idea. We should.
So why don't we do this then? Basil, I think you might be, or either you or Ms. Dumaire might be best at this then, because it's going to be, we'll effectively use a gather information to check to round that up. So I believe that's normally diplomacy, but one of you guys has a feat that allows you to use society instead.
Yes, I would just use society maybe.
Okay.
That seems.
Well, but you have to have. I think you have to have that feat in order to use it instead. Otherwise, it's diplomacy.
Yes, I have. I have.
Oh, you have
exactly
that feat. Okay.
That feat. Yeah.
we both have it. I think if I can assist or if that's helpful or whatever. So let me know.
You can actually. Why don't you give us? Oh, if you're going to aid, roll against a DC 20.
All right.
Let's see what. There you go.
There we go.
So Basil gets +1 to his roll.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see.
Anna says congratulations. Oh, which puts it within 1. You want to hero point that sucker?
Yeah. I just think it should get. There's a high chance it might get her. So okay, I will re-roll.
Okay.
So it's 20.
Hits that threshold of 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then. So what do you think? Is it just like like street kids that you're hiring, or like?
Yeah, I would suppose that maybe I was just thinking that maybe that was Basil's way into the business. He was hired when he was younger to do exactly that, just to spot something, what is going on in the night, and maybe I think.
Do you want something? And what's the thought for how they're going to warn you? Like if they do see something, or are they going to come inside and warn you, which would be pretty obvious, or are they going to throw something at the window? Is there a whistle?
Yeah, maybe we have a whistle. Yeah, that would be.
Okay.
I don't know. So is Basil able to hear in the I don't know.
Like the dog?
Yes, but
dog
maybe
whistle
like the
thing?
dog whistle. Yes.
I don't believe so. But I mean, you certainly could, keep a window open. It's summertime anyway, so you keep a window open and keep an ear out.
Call.
Yeah. Look over here.
And so I think Igor may be qualified to just pick some noise up, even if it's outside the normal spectrum. So we could even have some kind of inaudible alarm in that way. With the dog whistles, if you agree.
I think unless you've got an animal, like if you brought a dog in, that might hear it. But I don't think that the Yasaki can, only because I think that they would.
No, I was thinking about Igor maybe, but.
Oh, Igor, no, unless you put a specific sensor on him to do that.
No, okay. Yeah, then we would just use the normal whistle. Come on, let's just make.
So let's do this. Dr. Ersprung, why don't you give us, let's hear, you guys are level 3 right now or level 4?
4.
4, okay.
We're 4, I'll have you know.
It's about, let's hear, 1 level every 3 months? That sounds about right. So, Dr. Ersprung, would you give us a crafting check, please, or lore engineering at DC 19?
Then
Holy smokes!
Critical, yeah.
Wowzers! All right. So it takes you half the time that you expected. You're able to craft and fabricate those cold iron knuckles quite easily. Turns out that he's this is a BattleTech reference, but he's sort of an Omni-Mech as opposed to a regular. Very easy to swap out bits and pieces on him.
I have upgraded him recently, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
So then, are there any other preparations that you guys are making apart from having Misdemeanor and her kids go elsewhere? What are you doing to prepare in the event that there is a reprisal from your instigation of the preacher?
I suppose preparation to put out a fire is something we should keep in mind. Buckets or, whatever the tools of the day are for, that we have access to.
Yeah,
that
it
makes
would be,
sense.
I believe it's, at the time, it would be like buckets of sand and buckets of water. Could be sand for, is what you'd use for, like chemical fires or oil fires.
So we'll have some of that. Make sure we, have a bit of supply of buckets and.
Oh, and there's probably alchemical stuff as well, because it is like everything that's in Pathfinder is in this game. So there's probably some kind of alchemical, fire suppressants that are that Dr. Ersprung would
put Sylvan or Dr. Ersprung on, if that's helpful. Maybe just having a few supplies that we can jump on, don't have to look for.
Okay.
What else?
I'm going to have Igor like at the front window, sort of watching, and I'm going to sleep in the same room. So, right next to the front door, sort of.
So is it possible just to get 1 or 2 smoke bombs? These are level 1 items, so I think it's not that...
Yeah, I think that without reading the... it's going to be awesome. There's new crafting rules coming next year in the, what do you call it? The item book. But let's say that the basic smoke bombs, what do they cost?
I don't know. This is something feat level 2 to do a smoke bomb as alchemist. So I think
Hold up here.
Can't be too expensive.
Yeah. Oops. Thunderstone, Tanglefoot bag. Where on earth is it?
Oh no! Wait. Oh no! This is Pathfinder 1. I would say.
Oh, okay. It could be in. You know what? Here, rather than look through the books, let's look in the.
There's a reference in the.
Let's see here. Alchemical bomb, smoke bomb. Here we go.
Yeah.
There's a feat, and there's lesser smoke sticks. Okay, so that does extra things. Let's see here. The smoke stick is from. Come on. There we go. Alchemical lesser. Oh, it's in the core rulebook. Okay. So what it does is creates a burst of 5 feet. It costs 3 gold. So I'm assuming you can manufacture it for half that.
Yeah, I think I would just then just buy 2 of those, just for. I don't know. I
what
think
you can
they
do is,
come.
if Dr. Ersprung, Dr. Ersprung, go ahead, give us a crafting check once again.
I think I could craft them myself even.
Just that because his result is likely to be higher, he's likely to get a better yield from it.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, whatever half the price of the smoke sticks would be, so it would be, what did I say, 3 golds? It would be 1.5 gold per stick, and he can craft, let's say, 4 of them up to. Okay, so this is the Home Alone montage as you guys are preparing all your stuff for when the intruders come.
The paint can on the rope.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ms. Dumer, anything you wish to do in preparation for this potential attack?
I think I'll make sure I'm not actually wearing my gauntlets for this, because if I use my bare hands, I counters mystical strikes. So I'll find out if that works on demons.
Okay. All right. Anything else you guys wish to do before we turn to it? Okay, so Dr. Earthsprung is in the front. Is Igor sort of standing at the front door, or is he in the shadows, or?
He's in the shadow of the room, but at the window. So
Okay,
he's sort
got
of looking out the window.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any, if not now, maybe in the future we should maybe facilitate this, but if we have a liaison in the constabulary,
we
kind of give them a heads up. They don't have to put someone here, but just a little word in the ear that, hey, I'm not sure, but there could, we've poking around some rabble rousers lately, so we're just keeping a sharp eye out and wanted to give you the word, that kind of in our neighborhood for our place, that kind of thing.
So there used to be backlash from said constabulary because of our investigation. I think it would be unwise to inform them right now.
Okay.
So someone from them, this Duffy, was paid to be in to block our investigation. So I think we shouldn't.
Because I was hoping we'd have a friendly, obviously not Duffy, but a friendly one that would be.
Yes, yeah, but we have, but I think we shouldn't use that right now. Maybe spare it for times of greater need. But
you do have two, because you got Captain Withers and Constable Carruthers are the two,
Yes.
Or Detective Carruthers, I guess. What is it called? Detective Inspector? Is that the British term?
yeah, DCI.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ms. Dumer, and where are you positioning yourself, Ms. Dumer?
I will. What's the weather like at the moment?
It is evening, so it probably is raining a little bit.
Oh, well, in that case, that sounds delightful. I'll go on the roof.
Okay, it's wonderfully damp and cold. Mr. Mayor truly enjoys British weather.
So
Okay.
I would like to then try to get some reading out of the device if there is, if we have prepared to that.
Yeah, because you guys certainly have enough time to. So you sort of what the highlight. I mean, what you hear is there's a lot of sundry sort of like bookkeeping or business. The sort of conversations you would expect from the office of a person managing a mission or a shelter or something like that. But the thing that particularly stands out is at one point, which would have been like time stamped with the dead of night last night. There is a what do you call it? Actually, and that evening there is something as well. There is a discussion that seemingly like right near the beginning of between him and someone else, where they clearly are talking about Dr. Earthsprung, and what they say is that he gives just a simple instruction. This is Brother Loeb's voice. Gives the simple instruction of dealing with them. So there is a clear, you can tell the point where he had given the instructions for those thugs to go out and kind of go after you. It's oblique enough that it's not likely to convict him in a court, but it's also, I guess, an illegally obtained surveillance with using an experimental device. So there is that as well. You could take the shop steward out of the lawyer's office, but you can't take the lawyer out of it. That's the next half hour of this is me doing the legal analysis of the potential
Of Paridar?
Yeah, exactly. I tell you, I have yet to. I've restrained myself from running any kind of legal proceedings in any of the games that I've had. But if any campaign is going to have it, it's for sure this one.
Yeah.
Because this is the one that actually has like legal recourse in it. I'm very few of the other campaigns,
Yeah.
Apart from perhaps what do you call it, Five Rings, Lament for Lovers and Liars. You guys are part of the legal system there. But in any event, so that's it. The rest of it is inconsequential until the middle of the night. What you guys hear is it's creepy as fuck because he seems to be. Like almost his voice is heavy with a rapturous emotion. And he seems to be having one side of a conversation with someone else. And the way that it's phrased, like there's a lot of yes, I hear you, Lord, kind of stuff. And he is answering, yes, we are dealing with them, Lord. They will burn. We'll burn them in your light. Yes. And he seems to get directions for... It seems like he is in the midst of planning his next crusade, as it were. And then at the end of it... And again, you're only hearing the one side of this conversation where he really seems to be just taking instructions and answering questions from some unheard second speaker. You then hear, Basil, why don't you give us a perception check, please? This is part of your investigation, so you would get the +1, I think, to this.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, you would, Dr. Ursprung. To recover. So go ahead and give us a crafting check, try and
I will re-roll that.
Okay.
Oh, come on. This was... it's not my... Yeah, okay. No!
no.
Doesn't get better anyway.
Who else would be listening in on this? Is there anyone else who'd be sitting listening to like him play, like fast forward through the recording and playing it?
I think maybe Sally, because... I mean, before she sits outside, or we could even do this on the window or something like that.
You want to hero point that sucker? There, Dr. Ursprung?
I could hero. Can I hero point to be there?
You can, no, you can absolutely be there, full stop. So go ahead and give us a perception check there, Miss Dumare.
Oh, good. I do like that.
There you go. So, Ms. Dumare, as you're listening to that, after he finishes the conversation, that talk, you're like, wait, play that back. And he plays it back a bit, and then you play it forward and play it back, play it forward. And remember, so Dr. Ursprung, we treat it as if it's battle medicine, so I can't remember what level your crafting is trained to, but when you have it at a higher level, your default amount that you heal is actually more.
Oh, I thought it was 2d8.
Well, it is 2d8, but I think like once you're expert, it's 2d8 plus a certain amount.
Oh, I thought that was only when you got to DC 20.
It could very well be.
That's
Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's.
Or do you have assurance? Then you can.
I've got assurance, but that's only for medicine. I haven't got it for crafting. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it allows you to go for higher DCs and restore more. So ignore me. I'm thinking of crafting. The crafting rules work like that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay. So then, Miss Dumare, you get him to rewind it and play it back. Rewind it, play it back, and you're like, does it sound? It sounds like a stone. At the end of it, there's a stone that is being put on the table, on the wooden desk or whatnot that he's in front of. And that seems to be right as he's ending it, there's the sound of something going down. And then, shortly after, you hear him speak. Now, what language is it that I need here? Let's see. Is it Infernal?
Would be no problem. I speak perfectly well Infernal.
Nice. I minored in it in college.
Yeah.
Abyssal.
Oh. That would be maybe a problem, I suppose.
Okay.
Let's see.
No. So what you hear is, first you hear Loeb's voice, and he's speaking in a language you don't quite understand, but it's there. It just has a air of menace to it. Not the inflection of his voice, but the language itself. It just feels disquieting when you hear it. But that's nothing compared to the voice that seems to respond. And the voice that responds sounds like it is it sounds as if, as it speaks, and the louder it speaks, it starts in a whisper, but as the voice speaks more, it sounds like a forge or a furnace being stoked or bellowed with, I'm not sure if that's a verb, but like with bellows going in, that's stoking the fire. As the voice raises, there's a quality of roaring fire behind it that responds. There's only a short exchange between the two, and then there is otherwise silence and prayers from Brother Loeb in common once again. But that voice most definitely was nothing mortal.
Yes, now we know how a Brimrock sounds, I suppose.
Yes. A definite connection now.
I think we would have to ask our associate professor tomorrow to translate for us.
Okay.
But do we know anyone who speaks this language?
Abyssal?
Golak, maybe? I mean, do we know that it is Abyssal?
You wouldn't know necessarily it's Abyssal, but you would be like, I think you would know enough that there are limited... I'm telling them. My goodness. There are limited amounts of languages that are common, that they're used to communicate. Like, while there are myriad forms of devils and demons and, what do you call it, Yugoloths and such that populate the netherworlds, having a common language is a way to facilitate commands and whatnot amongst them. So while you would think maybe like, something so chaotic as demons would have a myriad amount of different languages, there really is only a limited selection of them, because they need to be able to communicate with each other and with those who are beseeching their assistance or, gifts. Which is to say that someone who is informed in infernal studies, they probably speak whatever language this is, whether it's abyssal or infernal or ignan or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
I don't know that any one of us can speak that. Even Golak, maybe not. So I don't think we have someone to translate this tomorrow. Today we have to wait till tomorrow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then and Golag, sorry. So we know Sally's on the roof. Dr. Earthsprung's in the front room. Basil, I believe, is at the window in his room. Is that right?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. And Golag, where are you?
I mean, for the purposes of spells, I still am going to need a night's sleep. I should have been reviewing what.
Yeah,
that
to get
kinda looked
you
like.
do need a full night's sleep in order to refresh your spell slots. Have you used? Oh yeah, of course you had that big fight today. Yeah.
Yep, that's why I was asking what day that was. Yeah.
Yep.
So I will be mindful of that, and
Okay.
I'll be
I
involved.
love the idea that he's like, guys, this is not because I'm the boss and I want you guys to work all night. I need my sleep
I need my sleep.
to be able to. So
Yes.
so you are dead asleep, perhaps Golag.
Yeah. Yep.
And we can change up this here. There we go. Something creepy. So evening comes. You reach alone in your thoughts of what the night might bring and what your response may be. And it is Basil.
Yes.
It is around 3 in the morning. There is a light rain that is drizzling down. It's more of a misting than anything. But it is a cool summer evening. And Shop Steward's got a... excuse me. Apparently there's some pollen in the air of in Paridar. And then you hear that predetermined whistle.
Shit. Wake up!
Okay.
Yeah, because I totally think that this is no false alarm. I'm pretty sure that we're under attack.
Okay. So you shout out, and what do you do?
Yes. Yeah, I think maybe we have even a bell or something, just some kind of alarm bell. So I will just ring it.
Okay. So you ring, you grab that thing, gong, 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 gong. All of you can hear the stuff. Golag, why don't you give us a... let's make it a fortitude save. Let's see how tired you were.
All right. I will... Can I...
You can hear it.
Can you spend a point on that?
Yeah, you can,
Yeah.
yep. Any D20 roll that you're making for your character, you can generally reroll. Okay. We see Golag. This is the classic, everyone else jumping up to attention. Golag reaches his hand out and then grabs the comforter and pulls it over himself even tighter.
I think I made it clear. I need my sleep for my spells.
Dr. Ursprung, Sally, and Basil, you were all hearing this bell going off because you've all been sitting up. Sally, you're the one with the best vantage from on top. Why don't you give us a perception check, please? And I'm assuming right now that the lights are all off in the building.
Yes.
Okay. So, Sally, you can see there is a group of 3 men that clearly are looking like they're on hard times or making their way, their collars up, maybe scarves around one of their necks against the cold, or at least against the damp. They're walking along hunched over, and they are clearly, although you are atop it, it's clear that the 3 of them are scoping out your building. They make their way down, and they're looking back and forth, up and down the street in a very conspicuous way. Basil, what are you doing apart from hitting the bell?
I think I would... Yeah. I think I run to the window and just look out and maybe...
Okay. So you run over there. I don't think you need to make a perception check to see that as well. Dr. Ursprung, what do you do when you hear the alarm or hear the bell going off?
Yeah, again, I'll be looking to see what it is and instructing Igor to go to the door ready if needed.
Okay. So he steps over to where the door is and you get to the window. So we see main floor, second floor, roof. All 3 of you are looking out down at the street and you see the 3 of them walk past. They slow to a walk in front of your house. They're talking back and forth. They don't approach.
Oh, yeah.
And they turn and they sort of walk back the direction they came. And there's a minute that passes. And then 2. And then you hear the whistle once again.
Okay.
And there's a group of 10 that are running down the street towards you. And you can see that they have bottles in their hands with burning rags hanging out of them.
Yeah. I think I would just shout something like, "We see you, stop," before
You know what? Let's do this, actually.
We should.
There we go. So why don't everyone click on their token? Golag, we'll add you to the initiative order because we'll get you to make a check to see if you wake up each round. So everyone click on your token. I think perception is what we're using for initiative. So go ahead and click on your token and then click on initiative, please. And. Okay. Let me make a roll for
Don't know
them.
what's going on here. Wait a minute.
Okay, now what do I have for my ruffians?
Oleg must have sensed that his property was in danger.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not the carriage.
Oh yeah, we use this. Let's use that once again. Okay, so for them I rolled 23. Okay. Okay, so Golai, why don't you first give us another fortitude save?
All right.
Come on.
Here we go.
You're
better.
Woof. Someone who you can hear Basil has shouted out, and your eyes snap open. So that would be, I think, one of your actions would have been to seek to, kind of like what to going on. You still have 2 more actions. You're currently in bed. And if you can go to your conditions tab, if you can select cozy. No, I'm kidding.
Sleepy-eyed?
Yeah.
Very stupefied of that.
Yeah, and perhaps if possible that I'm maybe less undressed than usual.
Yeah.
I'm a little more, ready to.
I imagine you sleep in like a dressing gown and whatnot. Like your father didn't raise any savage here, so you sleep in proper pajamas.
Well, I mean, ordinarily I absolutely would, but I'm just thinking that given tonight's anticipation that I have a little more.
You're dressed like the Bishop of Munster, plate mail armor, getting up out of bed.
Yeah, no armor involved, but yeah. So
that's called a callback, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
What are the condition of my spells? I've been looking for it unsuccessfully, and what exactly is required?
You haven't recovered any of your spell slots. You need to be able to. Right. So whatever you expired yesterday remains expired, but you do have access to all of your cantrips and whatnot. And whatever spell slots or focus spells you did not use. I see you got 2 focus points left, so you still have at least 2 focus spells you could cast.
I will go to the window.
Okay.
Probably on a lower level.
So let's again. We're in round per round turns here right now.
I'll use my actions to go to.
So one action would be to get up out of bed.
Okay.
And then so that'd be a stride to get out of bed, and then one more action. What do you want to do?
Off to the. I want to make my way downstairs to a window.
Oh, okay. So you'd have to make another stride to get to the door. Then there's probably a window in your bedroom that looks out over the street. If you wanted to go there.
The range is an issue here, so I was going to a lower window.
So you're going. So your next stride is to run to your door. So you're leaving the bedroom. Basil, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think I would try to intimidate, stop what you're doing, or otherwise we have to shoot. And we see you, all of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me make sure you can see all of them here.
Yeah, you can see in the dark. And I would actually spend an action and just to make the point to shoot. I mean, not at one of them, but close to them to just intimidate them.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So why don't you give us an attack? So, do you think you had your gun at hand already? Your pistol?
I think I would have laid next to the bed because, and when I got up...
Yeah. So one action to grab it, or maybe you grabbed it before. If you think that Basil would have grabbed his gun right away, it'll be one action to take a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just and normal attack. Yeah,
normal attack. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
So that would be this one.
There we go.
It should be. I have to double click. No.
So fortunately, we're taking the first one, not the one that's a nat 1, which may be shooting the guy in the head. But. So yes, you shoot down. It ricochets off of the street. The street is not hard to hit. Yeah. So then, why don't you give us...
This was a warning, yeah? So just to make sure.
So give us then an intimidation check, and I'll give you a +2 to that.
Okay.
Okay.
So 27.
All right. So 27 is good enough to cause at least half of them to pause. They sort of like are looking, trying to figure out who's shooting at them and who's, who is speaking. They are, I think, probably about 50 feet away from your, probably 60 feet away from your building, so they're going to have to run up twice and then make an attack roll to hurl the shit inside. But the others are going to be, I'll effectively treat them as slowed. So they're going to, like this round, they're only going to take one action. Next round, they'll take two. Next round, they'll take three. So for this round, they sort of look at each other and they begin... The stunned ones begin making their way forward. The others will spend 2 actions to race up to the window. Oh, you still have one more action if you want, Basil. Did you want to like reload your gun or move somewhere?
Yes, I think I should reload, yeah.
Okay. So the others go running up, so they're now within about 10 feet or so of the front of the door. The whistle is going kind of crazy in the background, and 5 of them are throwing shit at your windows. So let's see how this goes. Oop. That is 1, 2, 3 that managed to make their way in. The others sort of break against the side of the building and sort of, it's brick that's caught fire with this stuff. But 3 of them do manage to go in windows. So 2 in the front floor and 1 in the second. Basil, I think there's a 50-50 chance of it. Oh, let's do this. Goldleg and Basil, why don't you each give us a D20 roll. Lowest roll is whose room this goes in. Most Golag is like, if anyone's house is going to burn down, let it be in my chamber. I was looking to redecorate anyway. So Golag, you've raced over to the door, and perhaps that's a good thing because there's a burning Molotov cocktail, or the Paridar equivalent, that's come smashing through and across your rug. And Dr. Ursprung, there's 2. Why don't you give us a reflex check, please? Or reflex save, not check. Easy. So you see this shit coming, you duck down. One of them is like at the base of Golag's desk, and one of them is just sort of in the entrance area where the what do you call it? Where the sort of the foyer as you first walk into the study. That is all of them. Ms. Dumer, what are you doing?
Well, I've got my coat pistol.
Okay.
So I think I could get that one out, and I'll shoot at the second row.
Okay.
See if I can drive them off.
What is the range on your coat pistol?
Probably dismal. Where is my inventory? And range 30 feet.
30 feet. Okay, so it's going to be a trickier shot. Are you trying to shoot one of them, or are you trying to shoot the...
I'm going to try and shoot one of them.
Yeah,
so they're actually throwing things in now. Yeah,
most definitely. So probably, if we say 10 feet, I mean, it's probably only into the second range, so it'll be -2 to hit. Just because they're pretty much, if you're trying to shoot the ones beneath you, it's pretty much right done. You just threw their pistol at them.
Well,
So
pretty damage, huh?
Yeah, it's good damage. Just he needs to roll the attack. Where's that? Remember, it's on the first page, on the top left. That's when you want to, not on the equipment page.
Yeah, I don't have the. Oh, never mind. I don't have.
Are you sure? I thought, cause I set up the character sheet before. I thought that I had put that in there. Let's see.
That's okay. We'll do something else.
Oh, that's weird. It's not here. Don't you know what? Give us 2 seconds. This is one of the. We're justifying the purchase of the compendium stuff. Let's see here. Coat pistol. Coat pistol. Here we go. Watch this. Boom. And there you go. So you got a ranged strike.
Isn't that fancy?
Yep.
Let's give that a go then.
Okay.
Oh, I'm feeling lucky.
Holy shit! Yeah, so what does it look like as you kill the first guy? You fucking gun this guy down from the roof.
lean over the edge and straight through the forehead.
So yeah, one of these guys gets shot right through the head and drops down dead. You have 2 more actions. What are you doing?
I just yell, "Who's next?"
Okay, why don't you give us an intimidation check? And it would be 1 action to reload your coat pistol if you'd like. Holy smokes! Okay. So that definitely has given them a pause to consider. And then, did you want to spend your last action reloading, or you want to move?
Yes, I'll reload then.
All right. Dr. Ersprung, what are you doing? And I will just say, because it's the holiday season, you can picture that there's a broken window in here. There's fire that will be backlighting you. So as you get up, the patchwork man framed by the fire, it is an extraordinarily scary sight for those outside. Now, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna, I think, try and put out the fire in the front room. So I'll use that chemical stuff
Yeah. Why don't you give us I think a crafting check, because that's really what you're making use of. Yeah. You're spraying over. Eat 1 action each for each of the fires. So probably 1 action to pick up the extinguisher, and then 2 actions to put the stuff out. Both fires are out now.
Okay.
Golag, your rug is on fire.
Yeah, working to. I was running out the door, and then it burst, and so I whirl and endeavor to snuff the flames.
How are you thinking of doing that? Do you think you guys position some of those chemical and whatnot in each of the front-facing rooms, or would Golag have been like, it'll be fine, it won't be in here?
I don't know if Golag would do it. I mean, it'd be whether Sylvan would thought to have distributed or not.
Okay.
I mean, whatever you think. So
I think Sylvan, knowing his employer well enough, why don't you give us take a seek action, give us a perception check, and see if you can spot anything to put out.
All right.
That'll tell us whether or not. Yeah. So Sylvan has placed right near the entrance, looking down. There's a bucket of sand there, or perhaps one of the chemical,
I grab it and endeavor to bury the rug in sand.
And I think this is how we model this. Why don't we make it either athletics or an acrobatics check?
All right.
Your dealer's choice. Okay. So you toss this and it puts it out. But now there's a bunch of sand on your floor, so someone will need to pick that up. Basil, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think so. I tried with reasoning, so maybe I should just shoot at. So the first ones they have thrown, and they don't have Molotovs in their hands.
Yeah, let me.
Anymore.
The back row, the bottom row, those guys, the ones that pause, they're the ones who have the still have not deployed the Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, and those are 30 feet away, or 40 feet, or something.
They are about 60 feet away from the building right now. You do have the advantage of height here because you're on the second floor.
Yeah. But maybe I should add someone in the front row as well, just to scare the others off.
Sure. Yep. So
I will try that, and let's see if I hit someone.
You want to hero point that?
Yeah, I think I still have one, so let's try this again.
Here we go.
Yeah, I should even. Yeah, okay, but whatever.
Yeah, critical hit. So what does it look like? That is such a we got one guy gets dropped from a pistol shot from above. Second guy gets dropped from. What does your shot look like?
Yeah, I think I would have. I mean, Basil is more like doing is with cleverness or something. And maybe I have seen that there is. If I shoot a little bit above, and then this sign might drop on the guy or something that.
So you hit him, and I think that this guy. Maybe he hits the ground and there's like a second cocktail he had in his Molotov, and it breaks. So there's like this spread of burning liquid in the middle of the street at this point, and so it's casting this like orange reflection on the building, so everyone looks particularly scary inside. That was only one action. You still have 2 more.
Yeah. So I think I will just say, what were they saying? They want to see them, let them see the light or something.
Yeah.
So come closer. So let us show you the light. So,
Right. So
and
go
I
ahead.
try to intimidate them again.
Yeah, go ahead. I think one more. I'm going to try and treat this as like a. Ooh.
Oh no, I have no more hero points. I think I will have to cuff in making my threat. In the
Okay.
middle of it.
One more action. You want to reload your gun?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So on their turn, having two of their number already shot through the head immediately, and the other ones having been warned off. So the one guy, they all turn and they're spending their actions to run off into the night. You have suitably cowed them between Basil's initial, setting half of them on edge, and then Sally's terrifying shot from above, and then Basil knocking one down and leaving a ruin. When you guys get a chance to look outside once again, you can see that they're all scurrying off into the night, leaving two bodies, each with a one incredibly impressive shot through the head, and then a second, even more impressive one, bleeding out on the pavement. That will bring us to the end of part 4. So with the fires burning in the middle of the street, that brings part 4 of Fire in Brimstone to an end. So, guys, let's get to our outro. Here we go. So for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for session 4, or part 4 of the Fire in Brimstone mystery. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section of the video, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. Let's switch back to our normal Paridar music here as well. In addition, there is a link down below in the description of the video to the Dungeon Musings Discord server where all of us are active, and you are more than welcome to join us over there. We have their channels dedicated to this game, this campaign, and every other game we run on the channel. Wait, do we have one for Paridar? I don't know if we do.
We have Sunday.
No.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think we have the channel, the player channel, but I don't
the
think
players channel.
I need to make one. There we go. People have been demanding it. By people, I mean, I guess I just thought about it now. But we had channels there dedicated to Pathfinder 2, and I will set one up for Paridar as well. Let's see here. There's also a ton of other channels with a ton of other great people on it. The community that has built up over there is really knowledgeable and helpful and friendly and whatnot, so you are more than welcome to join us over there. There is also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really terrific organization, active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphan and abandoned children. And all donations that go through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to help out the kids who benefit from their services. And we have a couple of ways of saying thank you for that. One of them is that we run semi-regular charity sessions. And in our next charity session at the end of November, we'll be returning to a channel favorite. We'll be playing Modifius Entertainment's Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of. And for the next 3 weeks, every week of the first 3 weeks of November, anyone who has donated since June 15, 2022 will be having a chance to vote on the Dungeon Musing Discord server's Charity Initiatives channel to help shape what that session is going to be about. Where we've got a Conan, in general, and the Conan line from Modifius offers a whole host of different ways to experience life and adventure in the Hyborian world, and we'll be having the donors vote to help shape what that adventure is going to be like. We did that for our last charity session of Eden Studios' All Flesh Must Be Eaten, the zombie survival game, and that one was a shit ton of fun. So I look forward to seeing what the donors will be shaping for this one. Probably less dead children in our Conan adventure, which really says a lot about All Flesh Must Be Eaten. But then we'll be playing the game on at the end of November, and then I don't know if I haven't announced anything yet, but I'm thinking about another charity session in December that will allow voters to vote for something as well. But we'll more about that when it gets closer. In addition, for every $25 Canadian that has been donated since June 15, 2022, you get one chance to win the grand prize or one of the other great prizes in our next charity raffle. If you want to see what prizes were available in the last raffle, head on over to the Charity Initiatives channel on the Dungeon Musings Discord server, and you can see all those prizes, which include a bunch of great stuff from our friends at Beetle and Grimm's Pandemonium Warehouse, some terrific a chainmail dice bag that our buddy Dave has made. I've got one right here, although he's been making mine is a bog standard gray. He's been making these wonderful colored ones for prizes too, so there'll be one of those, and there's gonna be a bunch of stuff in the Dungeon Musings Bubble Shop, and we do the draw live, so I crack out dice and we make the dice rolls for it, and again, every $25 Canadian that you donate, you get one chance to win. So you get a chance to win some cool gaming stuff, you get a chance to shape what's on the channel, and most importantly, you get a chance to help out some kids who could really use some help. The last thing and we'll also mention, there's a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. They have a terrific selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print role-playing games, as well as a full selection of new RPGs, new board games, and new tabletop games. Basil, Ingolf, you'll be happy to know that because of your influence, I have the newest release for Shadowrun 6th edition showing up at my place on Monday because of, and it's from Noble Knight. If you make they also have a great wish list or want list feature. I really wish they would rename that feature instead of want list to wish list. But the want list feature allows you to, if they don't have something in stock, put it on their want list. They'll let you know when it comes in, and then you can pick it up from them. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code MUSINGS at checkout, and you will save yourself 10% on the purchase. If you're listening to this broadcast at another time, you may want to check at a more recent video, because they changed the discount code regularly. So if Musings does not work, check one of the more recent videos, and you can find which one will work for you. The last thing I will say is, which Anna is trying to tell me, is a huge thank you to our stalwart illuminators. So Sean, James, Ingolf, and Darren, thank you so much for playing today, guys. It's been a month away. It felt really great to be back under the Spires of Paridar once again. Yeah. Yeah. You got a big snort out of it. So then we'll be back under the Spires of Paridar and find out what our heroes will be doing next to defeat the nefarious Brother Loeb. But until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off of the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our stalwart illuminators are uncovering in the shady streets of Paridar under the Spires. And until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.